Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, where we dive deep into the stories that shape our world. Today, we're exploring a fascinating and somewhat terrifying book titled Scared to Death: From BSE to Global Warming. Why Scares Are Costing Us the Earth by Christopher Booker and Richard North. This book is a deep dive into the psychology of fear and how it has been manipulated to create some of the most damaging scares of our time. Let's start with the basics. What is a scare? According to Booker and North, a scare is a phenomenon that follows a remarkably consistent pattern. It begins with a perceived threat, often based on misinterpreted or manipulated scientific evidence. This threat is then amplified by the media and campaign groups, leading to a disproportionate response from politicians and officials. The result? Massive economic and social damage, often costing billions of pounds. The book meticulously examines several major scares from the past 2 decades, including salmonella in eggs, BSE, or mad cow disease, the Millennium Bug, bird flu, DDT, passive smoking, asbestos, and of course, global warming. Each scare, they argue, follows a similar trajectory. First, there's the initial spark. Take the salmonella scare in eggs, for example. It all began with a theory from Dr. Bernard Rowe of the Public Health Laboratory Service that eggs could be infected with salmonella from the inside. Despite the lack of solid evidence, this theory gained traction. The media, eager for a sensational story, amplified the threat, and politicians, fearing public backlash, overreacted. The result? A nationwide panic and a devastating impact on the egg industry. Then there's the BSE scare. The fear that mad cow disease could be transmitted to humans led to a ban on British beef exports and the slaughter of millions of cattle. Yet, as Booker and North point out, the scientific evidence linking BSE to human illness was, at best, inconclusive. The government's response, driven by panic and political expediency, was both costly and, in hindsight, unnecessary. The financial cost of these scares is staggering. The BSE crisis alone is estimated to have cost the UK around £7 billion. And let's not forget the human cost. The stress, anxiety, and confusion caused by these scares have had profound effects on people's lives. Take the case of the Daventry nuns, who were forced to fight against the government's attempt to slaughter their flock due to a salmonella scare. Their story highlights the draconian powers wielded by officials and the lack of transparency in decision-making. But perhaps the most chilling scare of them all is the fear of global warming. This is where the book really digs deep into the manipulation of science and the power of the media. Booker and North argue that the global warming narrative has been driven by a combination of genuine concern, political opportunism, and media sensationalism. They criticize the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, for relying on flawed models and for its lack of transparency. The authors also highlight the role of influential figures like Al Gore, whose documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, they claim, is riddled with errors and exaggerations. They argue that the fear of global warming has been used to push through policies that have little scientific basis, and that the real motivation may be more about control and social engineering than saving the planet. But it's not all doom and gloom. The book also celebrates the scientists and campaigners who have fought against the tide of hysteria, advocating for a more balanced and evidence-based approach. These are the people who have kept their heads when all around them are losing theirs. So, what can we learn from all this? First, we need to be skeptical of sensationalist media coverage and question the motives of those who promote fear. Second, we need to demand transparency and accountability from our politicians and officials. And finally, we need to support independent scientific research and critical thinking. In a world where fear is often used as a tool to manipulate public opinion, it's more important than ever to stay informed and think critically. So, the next time you hear about the latest scare, take a step back, do your research, and ask yourself, Is this a genuine threat, or is it just another scare designed to keep us in a state of panic? Thank you for tuning in to BrightLearn. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And remember, stay curious, stay informed, and keep questioning. Until next time.
Visit brightlearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.